Everyone, and welcome to the first edition of The Wrestling Man. I am your host, Bill Chase. I am emanating from my home in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. This is the first time I've ever done this, so excuse me if I'm a little shaky. Basically, what my show is going to be, it's going to be all through the week, different episodes. I'll be reviewing episodes of Raw, SmackDown, ECW, plus the pay-per-views, plus also, on occasion, TNA Impact. And I will also be giving little wrestling news tidbits. I'll do a thing called Ranting Corner, where I just rant on a random subject in professional wrestling. And also, the one that I really want to do is called the Wrestling Answer Man. What it is that all of you send in questions to my YouTube account, and hopefully I can respond to them, be it just a statistical question or a factual question, something that you can't find online or you're trying to look up and you can't find. Just a question, my opinion on a subject, my opinion on a match or an angle, past or present, or potentially future, anything. It's all fair game. Just send it into my YouTube account. Obviously, I don't expect a lot of questions right away because I'm just starting, and I still need to get myself noticed here. So, but today, the premiere edition is going to be a review of Raw, last night's Raw, and it came live from the United Kingdom this past week, Manchester, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, okay. So the show started off with a recap of the Chris Jericho-Batista match last week. I'm really happy Jericho's champion again. When Batista initially won, I was pretty livid about it. The problem is that I thought that they were just, it was a lame cop-out at first, but what I didn't know, I guess it was just to further the angle. But from the looks of it, it looks as if they're aiming for Cena Batista at WrestleMania, and I don't know, considering that SummerSlam didn't do as well as last year, it kind of gets me wondering, how great is it going to do this year? I mean, I guess WrestleMania does very well every year. I'm not saying WrestleMania didn't do well. I'm just saying that it could do better. It's done much better. So, logically, I would think that they would try something a little different. And anyway, so continuing on, the show begins at the top. Batista, of course, hits the ring. Doesn't look like he's in a very good mood. Obviously, selling what happened to him. He goes on to say that he's invoking his rematch clause. And the fans of Manchester, of course, they'd like to see that. But of course, Buzz Killington herself, Stephanie McMahon, who, by the way, I'm not pleased to see on TV again. That's just what we need. The McMahons back on TV. WWE thinks that since they have this new generation of fans, they can recycle things. I got news for you, pal. Some of us old schoolers are still around, and we don't want to see it. And if the ratings are any indication these days, there's a lot of things we don't want to see. But anyway, continuing on. So she interrupts, says that, of course, the winner of that match was promised to John Cena for Survivor Series. So, of course, Batista gets upset, and Randy Orton interrupts, and another one who I like to refer to as Buzz Killington. Anyway, Randall Q dumb shit, goes on to say whatever, cuts the same promo he always does, blah, 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 blah. They argue about Evolution, saying they kicked him out because he was too good, but Batista says they kicked him out because they knew Batista was a top prospect. To me, that doesn't make any sense because they just both ended up leaving, but whatever. Maybe I'm just overanalyzing. So Randy goes on to say whatever, and Batista says whatever, and I'm just, to be honest with you, the time to do this feud was 3 years ago. And it's too late, if you ask me. I just really don't think it'll have much interest behind it. Because, again, it should have been done back then when they were both, still a hot commodity. I'm not saying that neither of them aren't anymore. I mean, Batista's still very popular, and Randy's very over. He was actually well-liked by the British crowd, which tells me there's something in their drinking water. So, no offense to any Brits listening. My boy Mark P here on YouTube, I'm a big fan of him, so I really don't want to offend anybody. But, just don't take anything I say personally. I'm just before I get any further, I just want to say I'm just some, wrestling fan just sharing his viewpoint. I'm not some pretentious 14-year-old kid who lives in his parents' basement thinking that I know everything about the sport. This is just one guy's opinion. I happen to have a vast knowledge of the sport, and hence why I wanted to do my Answer Man column. And, just go from there. But to give you a little background, sorry this is getting off track here, but I'm 25 years old. I'm from Hamilton, Ontario. Canada, for those who don't know. Yeah, so I am a wrestling fan, but I do have a full-time job. I don't just spend my time ranting on wrestling all the time, but it's just something I like to do in my spare time now, so I figure why not give it a shot. Okay, going on. So anyway, the two banter back and forth. I said that. Batista challenges Orton. Orton accepts, which I know now. I knew right away it wasn't going to happen. They're not going to blow a match like that on pay-per-view, although they're no stranger to blowing other matches on pay-per-view. I'll get to that, or off of pay-per-view. I'll get to that later. So anyway, Batista gets pissed. He hands in a pretty neat spot. He hands Orton the microphone, then kicks him. So Orton's holding two microphones, so his hands aren't free. And Batista goes for the Batista bomb, but Orton escapes quick enough. And so that's the first segment of the show. All right, and World's Greatest Intercontinental Champion Santino Marella is next. He comes to the ring with Beth Phoenix. Now he said he is retiring the Honkameter, and his fans there are disappointed. Yeah, Santino's got some fans there in the UK, although he instantly got them to turn against him when he said he's from the best country in Europe, Italy. Yep, the way Europeans take soccer seriously, they take their country seriously in that whole continent, so that's the way to do it. So instead we get the Honka Perfect Mountie meter, where he adds together the reigns of the Honky Tonk Man, Mr. Perfect. I don't know if he's adding both the perfects or just one. I really don't know. Or and the 1 week reign of the Mountie. No, I'm wrong. Actually, Mounties is only 2 days. Yeah, he won it on the Friday. Found out about it on Superstars on the Saturday, and then lost it to Roddy Piper at the Royal Rumble on the Sunday. Okay, sorry, my bad. So I don't know what the point of that is, but anyway, yeah, that's I don't know. It's a little over the top if you ask me now. I should have stuck to the Honkameter, but it didn't matter anyway because in 30 seconds, William Regal won the match. Could somebody please explain the logic to me on that? Did Santino piss Johnny Ass off? I mean, really, that just seems to be the way to kill your career these days. Just ask MVP. I mean, they had this great thing going with Santino. And again, for those of you saying, oh, how do you think that this could go on for a year? I didn't expect it to go on for a year. At least half a year would have been fine enough. Half a year would have been fine enough to get the fans so loathing Santino so much that when he's finally beaten by a babyface, that they go nuts for him, like what it did with Warrior. Honky Tonk Man was a complete joke until he won the Intercontinental belt. And it made him a legend. That's what it could have done for Santino. Honky Tonk Man made a living. He made his legend off of being a lame duck Intercontinental champion, but it worked. He was more over than almost any other heel on the roster the whole time that he was that Intercontinental champion for that whole year. So instead of going the distance with Santino, they just blow it off on a blow-away match because it's Regal's home country. Yeah. This is another thing. Oh, people are saying to me already, because it's Regal's home country, he won. So now all of a sudden, Vince McMahon and the WWE writers say it's not okay to bury somebody in their hometown when they've been doing it for, 6 or 7 years now. I can count on, I need more than two hands to count how many times Booker T lost in Houston, how much Christian or Edge lost in Toronto or were buried. Like, remember when Christian was attacked by the Mexicals? Come on. Mickie James, every time she's in her hometown, Virginia, she lost. Or what happened to the British Bulldog in England 11 years ago, for those the older fans who remember. Just, I don't know, it's ridiculous to me. And, it just goes to show, maybe, even though I know the Intercontinental belt doesn't mean as much as the world title, but it just goes to show the hypocrisy towards Jeff Hardy, if you ask me. Regal has 2 strikes against him. He's fired. That title goes with him. All Regal would have to say is, "Oh, screw you. I'm not going to drop it if he gets fired." Yeah, and Vince had to worry about Brett. Anyway, that's another story. All right, moving on. Mountain Man, Mike Knox, either trying to look like Bruiser Brody, or, John Nord, for those who remember the Berserker. Huss. Yeah, to me, he doesn't even measure up to him. In my opinion, Knox has never, ever been any good. I've never really saw the big deal about him. Anyway, long story short, he squashes D'Lo Brown in under 2 minutes. Um, Now, see, this is the thing. Now, I have a theory. It's called the Hogan complex, or the Hogan syndrome, where Vince McMahon